The importance of self-awareness to teacher identity, we've seen relies on two factors, the skill level, the competence, and the reflective practitioner's awareness of skill level, the consciousness. And this all comes together in terms of the reflective practitioner learning how to learn. What we need to do is consider what this really means, learning how to learn. Learning to learn is really the ability to be able to pursue learning and to persist in learning throughout one's career, even when learning can be very, very difficult. And in this regard, it's very much about the individual knowing what works for them as a learner, their different approach to learning, and also being able to organize the way they learn and what they learn. It's very much also about effective management of time and also of things like motivation and approaches that you bring as a learner to a learning situation. Learning to learn, then, is very much an awareness-raising process. It's about the reflective practitioner learning the processes and needs that they have in terms of being a learner, and identifying the opportunities associated with the need for learning. And what we must remember is that learning, deep learning, is actually very difficult, and therefore part of learning to learn is understanding how to deal with and overcome obstacles to learning. Learning to learn is also about acquiring and assimilating knowledge and skills in order to meet some specific goal, and using these skills productively in terms of achieving that goal. So what you have to do as a reflective practitioner in terms of learning to learn is to look at prior learning that you have and to build on that learning as a foundation for a very strong set of skills. What you also need to learn is about motivation and confidence in terms of how you hold on to those skills and use those skills productively, how you build them into the competence framework that we've been talking about. And in this regard, therefore, we can consider a number of perspectives about learning. We can think about the orientation that we bring to learning, or in other words, is learning purely an individual approach, or is it about learning within a group or learning within a team? And it can also be much wider than that. It could be learning within and for the organization, meeting the needs of the organization as much as meeting the needs of the individual. And of course, another perspective is the actual approach to learning that we take as a reflective practitioner. Are we focusing on the causes of situations, or are we actually focusing on subjects? Or are the subjects that we're interested in not so important, so we reject those and just focus on the situations? So the perspectives that we have guide the learning process, and we can look at these perspectives diagrammatically. And we can see here the learning perspectives fall into a very neat categorization of formal learning and informal learning, and intentional learning and unexpected learning. Where learning is very formal and intentional, we are thinking about courses and classes. It could be even about meetings. Attending a meeting can be a form of professional development. Where learning is formal and unexpected, that could be through, for example, self-study or surfing on the internet, or talking to others, exploring issues with colleagues. Where learning is informal and unexpected, this is where we don't have any intention for learning, And therefore, learning is quite incidental. It could be within a community of friends, or it could be just in terms of playing games or sports with others, and we learn through our interaction. And then finally, learning can be intentional, but also informal. Or in other words, we intend to learn, but it's very relaxed and not as directed as formal learning. So through things like mentoring relationships, coaching, or even just independent reading.